My name is Rob Shauf, and this is my story. I was born into a Christian home, and I've been around the church my entire life. My parents were big into worship leading and stuff at our church and in Estevan, Saskatchewan. And so in junior high, we moved to Cairnport, Saskatchewan, which is where Briarcrest Family of Schools is. And it was good for me for the most part because I got to pursue music. I didn't get into drugs or alcohol or any of those scenes that kind of some of my friends from back home were getting into. But it was weird when it came to my faith because in a town like Cairnport, you get a lot of exposure to biblical information and you get a lot of Bible knowledge and Bible trivia and stuff like that. But for me anyway, a lot of that was head knowledge and it wasn't really heart knowledge. I didn't really get a living relationship with Jesus. It actually wasn't until I went to Bible camps with a buddy of mine that kind of faith started to be real to me because I saw young adults who were living out their faith and modeling servant leadership. And I saw just the difference that the gospel can make in people's lives. And that really impacted me. And so it was actually at a summer camp with my friends that I got baptized by Sid Coop in a mud pit. So that's a story for another time. When I graduated high school, I went to Briarcrest for music. I took every music class that they could, and I took a few Bible classes as well. Me and my friends, we really wanted to start a band. So we started a band, and the whole point of it was we wanted to do music for Jesus. We wanted kids to come to our shows and realize that you didn't have to live this sinful lifestyle in order to have a good life and enjoy life. And so that's what our band was about. We toured all over Canada. We actually even played here at Sardis Fellowship when John Lusink was the youth pastor. We really wanted to do music for Jesus, but as time went on, it slowly started to feel like I was the only person that actually wanted to do music for Jesus, even though I didn't even really understand what that meant at the time. And so I was getting really frustrated, and eventually our band broke up. And our guitarist, he was like, you know what, I want to give Bible college another shake, so I'm going to move to Chilliwack. And I'm like, well, I'll do that too, and I'll move with you. And so we moved to Chilliwack and started going to Columbia Bible College. At that time, I actually started attending Sardis Fellowship, and I was volunteering. I was the choir director and, started being a youth leader. And eventually I became a youth intern through the summer and started worship leading on Sunday mornings, and that was really good. Now, when I was at CBC, it was kind of a hard time actually because they took everything that I learned at Briarcrest, they kind of picked it all apart and deconstructed it. And I felt like, again, for another time in my life, I felt like I was the only person who actually believed any of the stuff at CBC. And thankfully, thanks to my internships and mentorings here at Sardis Fellowship, I actually got to process my faith. And so what I believed to be true, actually, I started owning it. I started owning what I believed, and that was pretty awesome. And it was at CBC that I met Diana. Now, when I graduated from CBC, I was working here as a pastoral intern, about 20 hours a week, leading worship and doing some pastoral stuff. Me and Diana dated for a year, and then we got married. And right after we got married, the youth pastor here at Sardis Fellowship quit rather abruptly. And the leadership team was like, hey, Rob, do you want to take your 20-hour internship and try another 20-hour internship in youth? And you want to try it out? My experience working at camp ministry and my experience volunteering as a youth leader and doing youth internships here and stuff like that actually kind of gave me the confidence to say, yeah, I'll try that out. And so I tried it out, and it was a really good fit, and I really enjoyed it. After about half a year of that, the leadership team was like, do you want to be a youth pastor, Rob? And I was like, I really want to be a musician. I don't know about that. Through, some mentoring relationships here at Sardis Fellowship, I was encouraged to take a step through the doors that God was opening for me. And so I was like, well, you know what? Yeah, okay. And so I tried it out, and I really enjoyed youth ministry. There's been some awesome parts of being a youth pastor. I love sharing the gospel. I love helping kids wrestle with their faith. I love developing leaders and connecting with students. And I actually did get to pursue my interests anyways. We do a lot of youth bands and making cartoons and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. But I love seeing kids get baptized. I love seeing kids come to faith and helping people to share their faith. It's so good. At Canadian Youth Workers Conference, they used to say, we need youth ministry lifers. We need people that are signed up for the rest of their life to be in youth ministry. And when I first started, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a youth ministry lifer, especially as I started really getting into it and enjoying youth ministry. But as time went on, I started thinking, there are other areas in the church that need leadership as well, and maybe, just maybe, I'm not meant to stay in youth ministry for the rest of my life. And it's funny because the last time I went to Canadian Youth Workers Conference in this winter, they were saying, you know what? Actually, the rest of the church also needs leaders. And so some of you who are youth pastors now might want to think about taking those next steps into leadership. And I just thought it was really funny because that's actually what me and Diana have been talking about and thinking about for the last couple of years. So it was really affirming to hear, CYWC, this conference that was like, we need youth ministry lifers, to also say, you know what, we actually don't need everybody to be a youth ministry lifer. We need youth pastors to grow up and grow into other roles. That's kind of what we've been feeling. The last year, a year ago when Sardis Fellowship hosted Impact, Archie Spencer actually came and taught a course here at our church for the students in the Immerse program in our denomination. And he invited me to come up. He's like, Rob, you should come and check it out. And so I did. And I really, really enjoyed it. So last year I joined ACT seminaries and I've been working towards my MDiv. It's going to be a long road, but I've been really enjoying the classes. And one of the things I've been praying about and wondering about is, what's the point of learning a lot of this? It's really enjoyable, but it kind of isn't necessary for a youth pastor to, have a master's degree. And so I was thinking about it. And then with all of our transitions here at church, with Rod as the new lead pastor and stuff like that, I've been praying and wondering what God has for me. And so this opportunity came up, and it's, pastor of discipling. That's something I'm really interested in. It makes a lot of sense. And so, that's what I'm excited about.